Hi everybody and welcome back to Lost Genre Reddit Stories. This post is from the subreddit of my chest and it's by user Unusual Quantity 476. I ruined my sister's wedding. I need advice. So as the title says, I ruined my sister's wedding. It all happened yesterday, so I'm still very emotional about it and freaking out. Please forgive me if it's a little jumbled. My big sister's wedding was yesterday. I wore a pastel pink colored dress that we picked out together for me to wear about 8 months ago. 14 of us were supposed to be staying in a cottage the night before and get ready together the morning of, but my sister changed her mind a couple of days before and decided she just wanted the bridal party there, which I wasn't a part of. If we all stayed as planned, this wouldn't have happened, but it was her choice and I don't blame her at all. I'm just explaining what happened. Anyway, the 6 of us who were no longer staying at the cottage got separate hotel rooms nearby and everyone was just meeting up at the ceremony with everyone else. The main part of the ceremony went fine, but my sister gave me a couple of dirty looks during it. And then when it came to the pictures, I went to have one taken with my mom. But my sister started screaming at me because apparently, in a certain light, my dress looks white, so it'll look stupid in her wedding pictures. I genuinely don't think it did, but I didn't say that. I just reminded her that she helped me pick it, and then I said I have another dress at the hotel I can change into. But she didn't calm down, she just kept screaming in my face. Her now husband said to go get changed, it'll be fine. So I apologized profusely and left. I changed into a black dress that I originally brought to wear for a meal that was planned for today. About an hour later, after I was changed, I went to the reception party and she'd already had a couple of drinks and was dancing happily. But as soon as she saw me walk in, she went into a blind rage. She walked over screaming at me and grabbed me by my hair and said that she doesn't want me there and that I've already ruined her day, so why did I come back and so on. So I apologized again and again before quickly leaving because I didn't ever want to ruin her big day or make it even worse than I already had. I spent the rest of the day and night crying. I texted her this morning apologizing again. She hasn't replied and I don't want to keep messaging or anything because she'll be on her honeymoon now and I don't want to ruin that as well. But it's weird because I've never seen her like this. Like, she's my best friend and has been since I was a small child. I was born when she was 8, so I've always looked up to her. So like, I've genuinely messed up big time and I need advice on how to fix it when she gets home because I can't not have her in my life. She's my everything. Please help me. Well, Opie, I gotta be honest. I thought you ruined your sister's wedding because in that line where you said that she grabbed you by the hair, I would have assumed, and that's when I punched her in the face and got kicked out. Also, I'm seeing that you love her a lot and she's your best friend, but you weren't even part of the wedding party. Anyways, OP, I don't think you ruined your sister's wedding. She did that herself. You wore a dress she helped pick. You offered to change immediately. You apologized for something that you shouldn't have to, but still, you tried to make it okay for her. So my opinion is that you don't need to fix this. When she's back, if she wants to talk, great. If not, just as great. And I would also encourage you to think about the type of relationship you have with her because she absolutely sucks and I don't get the impression that she likes you very much. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section and let's check out the community comments. Competitive Bill 1588 says, you didn't mess up, you were very respectful and didn't even argue with her about changing. There's pent-up anger on her side and she took it out on you, which was not right. She needs to apologize to you. You already apologized initially. Truthfully, I don't think it had anything to do with you directly. She just saw you as the easiest target to let out at, which is so wrong. And Opie responds, so do you think she'll talk to me again once she's calmed down if that is it? I don't feel like I need an apology from her though. I just want to be back on talking terms again, you know? Do you think it might be pent-up anger from the stress of the wedding? I mean, she's my big sister. She wouldn't have meant to humiliate me. She's not normally like this. We're best friends. Nina Bathory says, dude, what the F? She pulled your hair and berated you in front of everyone at her wedding and she thinks you ruined her night? What the F? No, you did nothing wrong. She is horrible. Single Cow 5992 says, she grabbed you by the hair and essentially dragged you out of the reception? Her overreaction to the pink dress is one thing, but this borders on assault. You did everything you could in the moment to fix things. You apologized profusely. Nothing more you can do here. Her behavior was completely out of line. Does she always treat you this way? Like your gum she just scraped off her shoe? I realize it's easier said than done, but if it was me, I wouldn't be speaking to her again until I got an apology. But I also wouldn't hold my breath waiting for one. She may be older, but that doesn't give her the right to push you around. Not okay. You did not ruin her day. She did that all on her own. And Dopey responds, no, she never treats me this way. That's why I know it was a bad mess up. The only times we've argued or anything in the past is when I've just been oversensitive about something she said, but it's never shouting and screaming, and it's definitely never got physically ever. 6-Pound Puppy says, how can she be your best friend and treat you like this? She's being a horrible Bridezilla, and you should not grovel and indulge her cruel nonsense as though you deserve it. Accept it for exactly what it is. She is being a nasty biatch, and there's no excuse good enough. Distance yourself from her till she apologizes. If she doesn't, find yourself a real best friend. And Dopey responds, I think she was just stressed out because of the wedding and everything just got to her, you know? Plus, she's not really the apologizing type. Normally, if she said something to hurt me, we just sort of ignore it and move on because it doesn't happen often and it's never that serious. She's my sister, so we sort of have to put up with certain things. And Nanny TNY says, you're too nice. I would have cussed her out proper. I don't care, sister or not, she was wrong. Additional information from OP's comments. Sorry for not responding to you guys right away. There was a major issue with my hotel room. Anyway, her wedding was supposed to be the perfect day for her. I helped her plan and pay for so much of it. Sad face. And my mom said she doesn't want to get involved. Because I should have known better than to go to the reception after getting changed, because it's common sense to know that she would still be angry with me, especially after she'd had a drink. Which I agree, it was pretty stupid and a little selfish of me really. But still, after writing back to a couple of comments where I'm defending her, I'm realizing she probably just overreacted and it wasn't actually my fault. It was probably just the stress of the wedding and everything. But I do respect myself. I just don't think it's necessary for me to get an apology from her. It was her special day, you know? I don't remember the last thing she got mad at me about, but it's normally just sibling type insults like making fun of my weight and things like that. It's nothing serious, just mean jokes that I take to heart instead of laughing off like a normal person. She's not normally like this. She's normally fairly laid back, and yeah, I'll get in touch with her husband once they're back from their honeymoon, if I haven't heard anything of her. Thank you everyone for your comments. Well, the community is right to tell OP that she's got nothing to do here, that her sister simply sucks. And from OP's comments, we can tell that OP really normalizes her sister's crappy behavior on her and thinks it's actually normal. It isn't, it's just abuse. In any case, let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. For anyone who's interested, I didn't ruin her wedding, at least not in any way that I could have stopped. Apparently, she's always hated me from the moment I was born. The only reason she was always spending so much time with me was because my mother was asking her to, for family. So basically, my dad left before I was born. I never asked about him because the way I always saw it was, if he loved me, he'd be here. But my sister blamed me for him leaving. He didn't want any more kids after my sister, and my mom doesn't believe in termination. So when she got pregnant, he gave her a choice and then he left. My mom told my sister the reason he left was because he didn't want me. I've spoken to my mom. She said it was a heat of the moment comment and she didn't think my sister would hold on to it. I also had some problems with my hotel room. I booked for 4 days, but the night after the wedding, a worker came to ask me when I'll be leaving the room because there's another guest needing it. I explained that I booked for 4 days. They said I rang them and cancelled the remainder of my stay, which I didn't, so I had to get a different room. It was my sister playing a prank. The prank caused her to go on her honeymoon alone. Her husband rang me yesterday telling me everything. about why she kicked off, about the hotel, and said he's looking into getting an annulment because she's not the person he thought she was. So yeah, that's basically it. Wow, OP, I'm sorry, this absolutely sucks. You got dealt a crap family. Starting with your deadbeat dad that left because he didn't want another kid. Like your mom just decided to do mitosis and she got pregnant. Like he wasn't involved, but he decided he didn't want the responsibility and left. Then your mom, which very stupidly told a little girl that because of you, her dad left. Of course she's gonna hate you. And her heat of the moment excuse is just as stupid. And then your sister, who at some point should have understood that it wasn't your fault, but she just held on to the grudge because it was easier to blame you than actually acknowledge that her dad is crap. And in spite of all of this, it sounds like you're still a good person, so hopefully OP, you can work through all of this crap and keep moving forward. So here's wishing you the best. Take care and thanks for sharing. And now let's move on to the next post that also has an update. This post is from the subreddit Am I the A-hole, and it's by user CallMiak. Am I the a-hole for yelling at my wife when she didn't back me up after our friend almost pushed me into a pool? I, 34 male, have never been a strong swimmer. I can tread water if needed, but I generally avoid swimming when possible. This is something my wife Anna, 32 female, knows and is always respected. Last weekend, we were at a barbecue at our friends Dave and Sarah's house. They have a nice backyard pool and most people were planning to swim. I politely declined when everyone started changing into swimwear, saying I just hang out poolside. My wife went swimming with the others while I enjoyed watching from a safe distance. After about an hour, my friend Dave started insisting I joined them. I kept saying no, explaining I wasn't comfortable swimming. He laughed it off and said, "Come on, don't be boring." I continued to refuse, getting increasingly uncomfortable with his pressuring. Things escalated when Dave started approaching me with this mischievous grin, saying, "Sometimes you just need a little push." He actually grabbed my arm and started pulling me toward the pool. I panicked and pulled away, nearly falling in the process. I was genuinely frightened and shouted for him to stop. What upset me the most was that my wife was right there watching this happen and said nothing. She was laughing along with everyone else like it was just a joke. I felt completely betrayed that she didn't step in when she knows how uncomfortable I am with swimming. After we got home, I confronted her. I'll admit, I raised my voice significantly. I said something like, "How could you just stand there while Dave was trying to force me into the pool? You know I hate swimming. You're supposed to have my back." She got defensive and said I was overreacting and that Dave was just having fun. This made me even angrier and I ended up sleeping on the couch. The next day, she told me I embarrassed her by making a scene and then yelling at her afterward. Now she's saying I should apologize to her and to Dave for ruining the vibe at the party. I don't think I'm wrong for expecting my wife to stand up for me, but maybe I shouldn't have yelled. So am I the a-hole? OP, you weren't wrong to feel upset. What happened at the party wasn't a harmless joke. It crossed a boundary that you have communicated. So what Dave did makes him an a-hole. What your wife did by not backing you makes her an a-hole. And where I think you've lost your footing is that you let your emotions control your actions. A strong response doesn't need to be loud to be effective. You had every right to confront your wife afterward, but a calm and direct conversation would have hit a lot harder than yelling ever would. Having said that, I think you need to sit down with your wife and to tell her something like, "I needed you to have my back in that moment and laughing it off made me feel exposed and alone." Hopefully she understands, because her dismissing your feelings and saying that Dave was just trying to be funny, that doesn't sound supportive at all. And from Dave, I would expect an apology, and if he doesn't, then I would say something like, "I don't care if it was meant to be funny, it wasn't. You knew I wasn't comfortable, I said no repeated times, and you pushed. That's not okay." What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section, and now let's check out the community comments. Barley Hayes 284 says, "Not the a-hole. You clearly communicated your boundaries multiple times and Dave ignored them. What he did wasn't a harmless prank. It was disrespectful and dangerous. And honestly, your wife laughing instead of supporting you is a bigger betrayal than Dave's behavior. You weren't ruining the vibe, you were standing up for yourself after being humiliated and scared. You deserve a partner who backs you up, not one who sides with people crossing your boundaries." Eft Fantasy Freak says, are Dave and your wife 12? It's genuinely scary to fall in water when you can't swim well, and it's straight up an a-hole move to push someone into the water after they've refused multiple times. Dave is an immature punk at best and straight up malicious at worst. Not the a-hole, not even for yelling. Kinda hard to act rationally when you've been put in danger and feel betrayed by your spouse. Maybe don't hang out with Dave anymore and really stress to your wife how not okay it is to do that to someone. Imagine if it had been something like skydiving. Wouldn't be so funny to push someone then, would it? Hide the Sunscreen says, not the a-hole. Maybe you shouldn't have yelled at her, but the fact that she clearly thinks it's no big deal and that Dave deserves an apology from you is odd. Like, you ruined the vibe? Really? Doesn't sound like she cares about how you felt at all. I wonder why she's so insistent on defending Dave. My boyfriend isn't a strong swimmer either, and I just can't imagine seeing him scared that someone is going to push him in the water and standing there laughing with everyone else instead of defending him. And Aromatic Wolverine 60 says, you aren't the a-hole here. Your friend and wife are. Your wife knew about it and still laughed in your face and encouraged him to do it. She is trying to gaslight you here. Tell her you won't apologize to her nor Dave, and better yet, she can sleep on the couch. There's no reason why you should have to sleep on the couch when you did nothing wrong. Alright, well, the community agrees that OP is not the a-hole, and that it is both Dave and OP's wife the ones that need to carry the badge of being the a-hole. Now let's move on to the update to see how this story ends. It's been a few days since my original post, and I wanted to give an update on the situation with my wife and Dave. First, I want to thank everyone for their comments and insights. I'm sorry I didn't have time to respond to each comment. I also appreciate the Redditors saying that I'm weak or should start standing up for myself. Not gonna lie, maybe there's some truth in that. However, reading the different perspectives helped me reflect on the situation more clearly. After taking some time to cool down, I decided to have a proper conversation with my wife. We sat down after dinner and I'd made sure to approach the topic calmly. I started by apologizing for yelling at her. I explained that while I was hurt by her not stepping in, my reaction wasn't constructive and I shouldn't have raised my voice. Anna listened and then opened up. She admitted she hadn't realized how genuinely frightened I was in the moment. She thought I was just being stubborn about swimming and that Dave was trying to lighten the mood. She said she could see now how his actions crossed a line and she apologized for not supporting me when I needed her. We had a deeper conversation about boundaries and how important it is to back each other up in social situations. She promised to be more attentive to situations that make me uncomfortable, and I promised to communicate my feelings before they escalate to shouting. It was actually a really productive conversation that brought us closer. As for Dave, he called me the other day. I thought he might be calling to apologize, but that's not what happened. Instead, he asked why I was being so weird about the pool incident and said everyone was just trying to have fun. When I tried explaining how his actions made me feel unsafe, he dismissed it and said I needed to lighten up and learn to take a joke. I kept my cool and told him firmly that trying to force someone into water when they've repeatedly said no isn't a joke. It's disrespectful and potentially dangerous. He scoffed and changed the subject to some upcoming basketball game. My wife and I have decided to take a break from hanging out with Dave for a while. Anna completely supports this decision now that she understands how serious this was for me. We're planning to spend more time with friends who respect boundaries instead. I'm relieved that my wife and I are on the same page now, even if Dave still doesn't get it. Sometimes you realize which relationships are worth putting the work into and which ones might need to be reconsidered. Well, OP, I think this update is great proof of proper communication. You apologized for your reaction, but you didn't back down on the reason for it, and you explained that clearly, and now your wife totally gets it and is absolutely backing you up. Now, the fact that you're not going to hang out with Dave anymore, well, that's just a bonus. So the way I see it, it's all wins here. Thanks for sharing, OP, and take care. And that's it for today's video. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch it. Now, if you've gotten to this point in the video, I assume that you like these stories that I'm reading out, so here are a couple more that you might enjoy. And if you don't have any time to watch another story right now, save it for later, and also don't forget to hit that subscribe button.